From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 239 of the Blind Android Users Podcast. We're recording today, Saturday, July the 5th, 2025. I'm Warren here in the state of Washington.
I'm John from the state of Virginia.
Karin from Lebanon.
And it's Sally from Samsun City of Turkey.
Welcome to episode 239. Coming up in this episode, we have the following segments. In our Android Basics, we'll be talking or revisiting the state of radio programs, radio apps, talking about which ones people might prefer, what is it that you prefer about that certain radio app. In our Spotlight, we talk about the Nothing Free phone, and Karin will actually be talking a lot about that Nothing phone. If you like something that is nothing, this is your turn. And then to close today's episode, we have the app of the week, and today we're talking about the OpenDocument reader. That would be the crux of today's episode. Welcome again, guys, to episode 239. Karin, girl, let's start with you today, my dear. How are you doing? I know it's summertime. You don't like that hot stuff, but you're always a hot stuff, so we just want to keep it hot. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well. Everything is good here. Actually, we have started summer, and it's July, so we're facing some heat. But if we compare what we are having with Europe, actually, we could say, thank God, nothing is really serious because they're having 40s. So we're just about. I think we have reached 31 or 32, which was the maximum temperature. So, because here we aren't so much used to a lot of heat. So if we go up, it would be something like annoying. But until now, it's still bearable. And I hope that people in Europe are able to cope because they aren't also used to this type of heat. And I don't think that they also have the equipment that they need, like ACs and stuff. I mean, in the countries where it's not something usual to have this heat. So, yeah.
Yeah, indeed. People like in England that don't have ACs and stuff like that. Oh, gosh. Just unbelievable. Sally, how about you? Are you also heating up? I know, of course, you like that lighting up the kebab and all that good stuff to eat. But, you and I we like food, don't we? If we don't have, the heat, then there's no food. And I think I want food. How about you?
Exactly. Give me that food. So this week was all about food. I had a lot of food for this week, just like you. I mean, I visited a neighboring city in here, so that was a great chance of traveling around. I was visiting those little stores for some gifts, and the ladies were so nice, and I'm so glad that I made it there. So the being handsome works sometimes.
Yeah, here comes a handsome guy, and everybody looking you up and
They were just like asking if I need anything or if I need to buy this. They were offering me some colognes or some desserts. So there was a great travel on Tuesday. For the half of the week, it was real hot, up to 30, but now it's 19 and it's raining. And how are you?
That's really nice. That's really nice. Well, here we've been going up and down as well. And yesterday, though, we had some rain, which is kind of very rare this time of year. And so I was surprised we got a little bit of rain, and it was like 76 degrees or somewhere in there. So, but the next 4 days is probably going to heat up again. That's the forecast. So we'll see what happens. And we had some fire warning a couple or 3 days ago, but it came up to nothing. So I hope we don't have any fires. So that's what's going on. John, my man, are you guys cooling down there in Virginia land? I know it was a little bit hot there, but I'm sure that you guys, with all that hurricane or rather some other winds in the New York area, it probably touches you guys as well, right? No?
Yeah, it cooled down a bit. It felt like a regular summer week. Nothing crazy. It was a pretty chill week for me as well. We took the 4th yesterday and just enjoyed the day off. Didn't do much until when the fireworks started at night. We drove downtown and just parked and watched them from the car, and then came home. So that's pretty much all.
And talking about the 4th, we want to wish you guys a belated 4th celebration. We had a wonderful time here, and we hope those of you here in the States that celebrate July 4th had a great July 4th. It was wonderful. Lots of fireworks, as you would be hearing in my demonstration. It just was just out there because I live in a little town where everyone just lights it right in front of their house. So that's what's going on.
So how old is the U.S. now?
The U.S. now is 249 years old, right? In
Yep,
1776.
right.
So we're at 249, and becoming an older country. Can't believe other countries are like, thousands of years, and here we are, such a young country. But
It's been
249
around
years.
more years than we've had episodes.
Exactly.
And
Uh,
just gotta say, happy Canada Day, belated Canada Day.
And all the other days out there.
I have no clue what Canada Day is, but
It's
thanks.
July the 1st. Yeah.
Oh, July 1st. Okay. Yeah. When did Canada become independent anyway? Maybe like in the 1900s? I don't know. I'll leave that to the Canadians. You guys help me straighten out. I have no clue. And now, the Android Basics segment. This is a segment where we discuss the things that power your device from behind the scenes. And now, here's this week's episode, Android Basics. Let's now move on to the Android Basics. And today, of course, we're talking about radio apps. There are several out there. And as always, though, we talk about these things, and there are certain things that we're looking for in a radio app. If you're me, that's my preference. There are a couple of things that I look for in a radio app, or maybe especially one feature that stands out of all the features that I'm looking for in a radio app. For me, it has to do with that capability of recording. If that thing does not record, I'm not going to make it my favorite app, radio app. So let's talk about these things. Sally, let's start with you. When we talk about radio apps, which ones, name some of the ones that are your favorites, the ones that you have on your list as the most favorite ones that you like to use. Like I say, for me, the one feature that I look forward to is the ability to record.
Yeah, being able to record is something really important for me as well. And I want to be able to know what track is being played. It's like it should be supporting the track IDs of the currently playing songs. So that's the most important part for me. And what I like is being able to browse countries, languages, networks. So this is really important. Being a radio guy, I love listening to different radios from different countries. Sometimes I turn on a radio station from Vietnam. I told you, sometimes I turn on one from Egypt, or it depends. Just any country comes to my mind. Just want to know how the people are doing in that like particular area. I just want to feel the atmosphere, like what songs they are listening to, what they are talking about, even though I don't understand the language. I just want to, yeah.
That's really fun, though. Maybe something like Cambodia or Laos or some crazy place like that you have no idea as to what the language is, and you just want to hear that language and what it sounds like.
They're talking a lot of they're talking a lot of things. Maybe they don't make any sense, but for me, it's super interesting. Maybe they're reading the news, or I don't know, they're just talking to each other about daily affairs. But for me, it's super interesting. After sometimes they play the song and then come back to the conversation again.
And you're actually correct, because if a radio app doesn't have too many countries or too many stations, then probably it's not, something one want to bother with. And we always talk about TuneIn. Of course, TuneIn removed that ability to record, right, guys? I no longer see it in that, but to me, it
No.
seems like TuneIn still has the most stations, I think, because it's always been there first, and it's kind of was very familiar with a lot of people or
Yeah,
whatever, and countries, and so lots of stations are
Mhm.
still on there. But then some of the good ones, very good competitors, though, do not have as much stations like TuneIn has, but they have features that TuneIn does not have,
yes.
and yet TuneIn keeps adding more and more stuff that I don't care about.
The problem with TuneIn is that they had an issue with the cultural authority here in Turkey, so accessing TuneIn Radio Network is no longer possible for some licensing issues. So therefore, we need to use alternatives. So my favorite is VRadio. It's a great app. You gotta try it.
VRadio is a good one, and I think we had a demonstration of that on our side, and you also have it on accessible Android, don't you? I think so.
Exactly, we
Um,
do. Yeah.
and I think another one is Radio G. Both of these, as well as Cloud Radio. And there's another one that I use often, and it's because it supports some TV stations, and that would be the AudialsPlay. And that seems to be the one that I've been using the most, because when I want to listen to Newsmax, for example, it's the only one I could find Newsmax on. And so I listen to Newsmax, even though it's a TV station. So I've been using that a lot. But yeah, I think that we have France to thank for the removal of the recording capability of TuneIn Radio, because I remember it was France that complained about that recording, and so TuneIn removed that. And ever since, I very, very seldom use TuneIn Radio. And for me, it's not because I'm recording songs or things of that nature. I'm mostly someone that like to use it for, say, listening to talk radio and stuff. And now and then, you have guests that are being interviewed about books. And so I like to record that so I could look for the book later on. And that's the reason why I like to record my radio shows.
You know what, Warren? I'm on like one of the you know me that I'm using Android for a really long time, since ever I was able to remove my battery. So
When
on,
you couldn't
on
hang up the call.
yeah. So like from those days, what I remember is that TuneIn Radio had a pro version with one-time purchase, but after a couple of years, they changed it to premium, and then I felt like I'm giving up on that. So after a couple of years more, for the licensing issues, it's no longer here in Turkey. So VRadio has a premium version, and it supports recording, and it also has a list of track IDs. For example, if you're listening to some songs and you don't know what song was playing 2 songs before your current song, you can go back in history and you can find out what song was playing. And you can go and search on Spotify, search on YouTube. Those are the great options on VRadio. So that definitely worth paying for. And it's one time.
Yeah, well, the TuneIn Radio still has the Pro, which is still $10, $9.99. Now, when they talk about premium, what they're talking about, though, they want you to, if you want to access things like baseball, or you want to access things like audiobooks and some other features, or if you want to be able to skip ads that radio stations play, or things of that nature. For me, it really doesn't bother me, but really, I think that the one big deal breaker for me with TuneIn has to do with that removal of that recording capability. And I've just kind of turned my back on it. I mean, of course, they support podcasts and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. TuneIn, it still has the most stations, like I said. But yeah, your VRadio and Radio G, Cloud Radio, the AudialsPlay that I was talking about, all of these allow for recording. John, let's talk about you, my man. John, you kind of like radio stations. I know you're a sports guy. Take us down that road. Are there some of these apps that give you the stations you like on sports?
So,
I know that's kind of a
so
hard
I'll
one.
start with TuneIn, because that's what you guys were talking about. I So I'm glad they have the pro version still, because it's like you already mentioned, it's just a one-time fee. It doesn't get you extra content. So with premium, you get sports, you get more sports, there's all kinds of extras you get. Like you even get audiobooks. They have a library of like 100,000 audiobooks. So they're continuously adding to the premium library. But if you just want to pay that $10 to never have pre-roll ads, you still can. That's what I like about having TuneIn Plus. And of course, you can use both TuneIn Plus and TuneIn Premium together, because those ads, man, radio stations are the worst when it comes to ads, right? So there's nothing worse than like having to sit there and listen to like 3 pre-roll ads, and then when this radio station actually starts, you're in the middle of a commercial break, and then you have to listen to more ads. So yeah, I think it's worth the $10 to if you do like TuneIn, it's definitely worth the $10 to get TuneIn Pro. Or is it Plus? Yeah,
it's the Pro. I have the Pro, which was purchased a long time ago. But
yeah, it's still just
the
$10.
Plus is the better one. Gives you all the good stuff. But I don't have that.
But yeah, premium has gone up recently. It used to be $10. Now it's up to $13. So that is an option for sports. Now, it's probably different in every country, so I'm only speaking for the US. The reason I don't use TuneIn Premium anymore is because they no longer have the NFL rights. They have a whole bunch of other sports and college sports, which is important to me, but I also want to get NFL along with it, especially if I'm going to be paying $13 a month. So I don't use TuneIn now. But the one last thing I'm going to say about TuneIn, if you want to try to use it, make sure you do not use audio ducking, because it's absolutely horrible with audio ducking. It completely like ruins the experience. It'll feel like the app is broken, because it does the thing where instead of just lowering the volume, it'll pause the thing and then unpause it. And sometimes it'll like take a few seconds to even pause it or unpause it. And then you're just sitting there like, is my app broken? Like, so definitely turn off audio ducking and talk back if you want to use TuneIn. So that's all I have to say about that. So for me, radio is basically sports. Like I don't use it for music. I don't use it for news. I get that stuff elsewhere. But I do use radio for sports. And right now, what I'm using is Sirius XM. It's $10 a month normally, just for the app streaming. Obviously, if you have it in a car, it's much more expensive. But if you just want to stream it in the app, it's $10 a month. And of course, you can go all kinds of promotions, and you can, milk the promotions. I have this routine where I just like when my current promotion is about to expire, I pretend I'm going to cancel, and then they offer me like, how about you just
3 months more
paying like $5 a month instead of $10 a month for the next 12 months. And I'm like, okay. And they're not locking me into anything. They're just keeping me up. So yeah, I don't think it's been a while since I've actually paid $10 a month for it, but that is what I currently use. And I don't have any issues with SiriusXM at all as far as accessibility. It's a good app. It has its quirks like any other app, but you can do everything. It's not confusing or anything like that.
You mentioned accessibility, and that's another key one for those of us who are blind now. Some of these things that we mentioned here are very accessible or very usable, I should say. Some may have maybe an unlabeled button here and there. I'm looking at maybe cloud radio. I don't remember, but I demonstrated these things on our channel there on YouTube. So you could look those things up and see which one has the most accessibility and all of that. But all of them, they're very usable. And we like these programs. And, so the TuneIn again one more time before I move away from TuneIn and get tune out of it, is that TuneIn, it's just kind of getting more and more stuff, but yet in the same breath, it's just kind of all that inability to record if you're like me. But it's so funny though that John, you like your sports and I like my news, and it's funny how we all like different things and what we like radio programs for or radio apps for. And I'm glad we have those things that we could choose. And if there's someone or something that someone is looking for is not in another app, one could look it up in another app. And so that's the good thing about it. And I think that when it's all said and done, TuneIn is still the king on the hill when it comes to the number of stations. Like Sally, now and then I like to, look at other countries just for giggles to see what it sounds like.
One more thing I wanted to say for people in the U.S. who are NFL fans, if your sole purpose is to listen to NFL games, you can actually subscribe to NFL Plus in the NFL app, and that's only $7 a month, and that will get you all the NFL games. And you don't have to like commit to a year or anything. You can only just subscribe during the season and then cancel it when the season's over if you want to. So if you were going to consider subscribing to SiriusXM for $10, just for NFL games, keep in mind that you can do it directly from the NFL through the NFL app if you want to. And the app, I do use the app. I haven't used it for listening to the radio, so I can't say for 100% certain that it would be completely accessible, but the NFL app in general does work good enough for me when I'm trying to watch videos and stuff in it.
So, Joan, I got a question since you're into sports. Are there any radio stream for NBA games?
So, similar. So, TuneIn has it. If you subscribe to TuneIn Premium, XM Radio has it. They basically have all the major sports in the U.S. and college, with the exception of, for whatever reason, TuneIn stopped being able to have the NFL games. But yeah, usually, if you want an easy way to just have access to all of the NBA games, something like SiriusXM would be a good choice. I don't think there's a free option out there that I know of.
The surprising thing is that I think maybe because I hate subscriptions and all of that, and I'm thinking here you're paying $10 a month or $13 a month, and for me, I always look at it from the lens of a year subscription, and in a year I'm paying $130, and that $130 or whatever, actually that's more than $130. What am I talking about? Right? Let's say 13 times 12. John, you're the mathematician here. I was lousy at math.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at that, and I'm like, that's a lot of moolah going out the window, close to maybe $150 or whatever the case may be. And so that's why I don't like subscriptions. I'm sorry, guys, but everyone is kind of turning into subscriptions, and they can get overwhelming after a while. And so I'm not very keen on all of these subscriptions.
The good thing about subscriptions, at least in most cases, is that you don't have to commit to a year. So especially if it's something for sports, you can only do it for a few months. So I don't even do YouTube TV anymore because it's gotten so expensive. But even when I did YouTube TV, I would only do it during football season. Like I'd pay September through December, and then I'd cancel it. Like I don't need TV until next September. So that's the good thing about these services, streaming services and radio services these days, is they don't lock you in like everybody used to always try to lock you in, with these cable services and stuff like that. So I'm glad that contracts at least are a thing of the past.
So it does make sense, if you're into NFL, for example, then, you just subscribe during those NFL months. And then when it's over, then you say goodbye to baby, send it back home to mama. Karen girl, let's talk about you. You're a girl, you like radio apps, or, sometimes maybe girls don't care about radio. I don't know. I can say maybe you care about TV. I have no clue. What do you like?
I don't care about both, actually, to be honest. I'm neither the radio person nor the TV person. Although I don't care about radio, and I don't, a year might pass before I check a radio station. But despite that, I have 2 radio apps always on my phone. The VRadio that Saleh already mentioned. And one thing that I want to talk about and I like in VRadio is the ability to select the type of ads that you receive if you're using the free version. which is something that not all app developers give you, and it's something really important. So you can, for example, tell the app not to use the full screen video ads. So it will just show you the ads the ads that are on the screens only, without having a full screen ad every now and then. And you can also, the default actually is to have the full screen ads from time to time. So this is something that I really like about this app. And another app I use, or actually I have on my phone without using, is the, actually this app has a way of dealing with radios in, like, they give you several apps. You have an app for Arabic radios, for example. You have an app for the UK. You have an app for other countries. So each country has its set of radio stations in an app. And then they have another app which includes all of the available radio stations. So if you want to have every country or every radio station from all the countries supported, you can install their app, their international app. And if you don't want that, you can just go for the app that is related to your country. So I like this approach. I think it helps some people, or some people just like this approach more than having an app that they will use. Actually, not all people are like you and Saleh. So some people just check their local radio stations, nothing more. So actually, this is the app strategy. And I will also, we will also put the link in the show notes. Actually, it was accessible. The last time I used it, it was accessible. They have ads, but to get rid of the ads, you must pay a one-time purchase, as far as I remember. So I will just put the link, or I will just give you the link of the universal app, or the one that contains all of the radio stations, and you just check the developer, and you can get all of the other apps if you are more into this type of applications.
One last word about radio apps. I think that the most important thing is they should just keep on doing what they were doing earlier on when we get started with smartphones. Give us that local FM radio on the phone. I think some of the Motorola phones still do. And because if we have that, for example, if your local radio station carries maybe some sports, you should be able to listen to it, because it's just like grabbing your boombox or grabbing your Walkman and tune to the local station in your area and listening to the station there and listening to whatever sports is going on. Why can't we have that? I don't know why they've blocked that capability out. I think it's all greed. What do you guys say about that? And sometimes it kind of a little bit pisses me off.
Exactly. This is what I don't like. Yeah, ever since I was a kid, I used to listen radio a lot. And when my very first smartphone had a radio, the Nokia, it had the radio. And I liked listening to local radio stations. Wherever I go, changing different cities, the radio stations changed. Like, I like pretty local stations, the conversations and the music they play, the messages they read, the requests, and everything in between. So those were the great times listening to local radio stations. Some of the local radio stations, they don't have an internet stream.
Exactly.
So I'm really missing out on those. So please, somebody give us the FM radio back. So speaking of that, we have an article on Accessible Android saying why this is happening and what phones still have the FM radio. So you can just, guys, check it out, and you can read the article on website.
Yeah, because you don't need internet access. I mean, it's just like carrying your Walkman in your pocket, and you want to listen to radio, just tune to that station. And I think the one thing that most of them used to do is that you needed, like, a wired headset in order to be able to use it. I don't know if that still is the case, because it acts as an antenna.
Yeah, that is still the case for the few phones that do have it. You do need. You don't have to. Sometimes you don't have to use the earbuds or whatever are connected for sound, but you do have to have them plugged in, because it does use them as an antenna. Yeah,
but it's not necessary actually if they want it to be, because here we have a speaker. Actually, it's nothing, a Bluetooth speaker, just a cheap one. And it has actually, because everything Chinese has a radio, because maybe you would get a cup and it would have a radio in it. So something like so much famous with Chinese stuff. So the speaker has radio in it, and you don't need to connect anything. It just actually, I was testing it maybe 2 days ago, and it was like it was able to let me stream the radio stations. I was able to get good stations, a good amount of stations. So that was a good one. They actually said that if you want to have it, like if we want the reception to be better, you can connect the micro USB cable. And but actually, I didn't need it during my testing. It was just the reception was good enough to let me listen to some radios, to some local radios here. So yeah, I think it's not really something that they can't deal with. But actually, it's something maybe because people aren't really caring about having radio receivers in their phones. So maybe the companies also don't care as well. So this could be the reason, actually.
Yeah, it's just an extra antenna they'd have to include in their phone that they don't want to include in their phone.
You know, talking about that, Karen, I have some Chinese headsets that have, radio built in, as well as an SD card, mini SD card or micro SD card, I should say, that you could use. And so, yeah, these things are possible. It's just like I said, it's kind of greed. They don't want us to have access to it. I don't know what the case is, but I mean, I look at radio, though, as a means of communication. Maybe there's a tornado coming in your area. You live in the Midwest or somewhere in southern U.S. There's a tornado coming on and, the power has gone out. As we indicated earlier, you should be able to have access to that, information. So I think really the governments around the world should make this a mandate. I mean, they're mandating a lot of things, and yet we overlook the very important things that we need to have on our phones. It's kind of silly. It's not every time that one has access to the internet. Welcome to the Spotlight segment. This is a segment dedicated to interviews with developers or interesting happenings in the world of Android. And now for this week's episode, here's your Spotlight. Let's move on now to our Spotlight. And today we're spotlighting the Nothing phone. That's a Nothing 3 phone. And I do want to say that the Nothing guys, I think they're making some good phones. You remember I had a Nothing 2 phone a little while ago. And of course, the reason why I returned that thing was it just wouldn't support my carrier. But I think they're now in the U.S. Aren't they now in the U.S.? John, you remember, or Karen, do you know if they're now in the U.S. with the launch of the Nothing 3 phone?
I think they've always been in the U.S., but it doesn't. It only basically, unless I'm wrong, AT&T and T-Mobile and their NVMOs are the only place you can use it.
Yeah, I think that earlier on, though, it was like a beta or whatever they were saying. It was not officially, supported. But I think this time around, it's official. Karen?
About the US, I don't know. I know that it's in the US, yeah, but you should have better information about this.
You are able to go on their website and pre-order it. So I mean, there's
Yeah.
that.
But
I wouldn't expect it to work perfectly on Verizon, because OnePlus even had this problem for years where, Verizon just uses different kind of technology, and a lot of these phones don't bother building all the antennas to support all of the 5G networks, especially the millimeter wave networks that Verizon uses. But yeah, if you're on AT&T or T-Mobile or use those towers with your network, then you should be good.
So, Karen, let's talk about the phone in general, not necessarily relating to the US, but what is that phone? What does it have, and what does it not have? The prices and all of that. Are they undercutting the competition here? And if they are, and what are some of the things that they had to cut corners on to meet that price? Let's talk about that.
Okay, so I should start with something. Actually, nothing is impressive in this phone, for me at least. Well, they are trying to do something, but actually, I think that they removed some special features. Okay, no matter if I use them or not, if I have the phone, if I would use them or not, like the glyph interface, which was actually a selling point or maybe a marketing point for nothing. They now replaced it with a screen, a monochrome screen that could display stuff like timers, the clock. Also, you can play some games like mini games, and there's also the ability to know who's calling and stuff. But actually, why should I put my phone like in that way to be able to use this screen? So actually, it's easier to use the main screen, and usually people actually just put the screen, like the screen will be actually the one that's facing you. So there is actually no need to put the screen and to put the phone in this way from the beginning. So actually, I think even if some people call the glyph interface gimmick, it was actually something that was like different in nothing phones. So now it's not actually there, it's replaced. So this is the thing actually. Another thing, they're trying to be like flagships this time. It's a flagship device. They're trying to say that you're doing a true flagship, but actually, is it a flagship? No, it's not, because actually the spec sheet doesn't say that, because they are not using the 8 Elite, which is the last or the latest processor from Qualcomm. So they're using instead the 8S Gen 4. Okay, it's still capable, it's still good, but it's not what you will have with the other flagships. And as far as I know, the phone actually is priced at the same price of the Galaxy S25. So personally, I don't see myself getting this instead of the Galaxy S25. Actually, there is nothing that's differentiating this phone and making me go for it instead of the Galaxy S25. I mean, okay, it's having a bigger screen. I think the cameras are better, but if we look at the overall experience, I think Samsung would give you better overall experience, and you could also pay more and get something better. You could just pay a little more and get something better. So actually, I don't see why did they go this route. I'm not sure that they will be really able to like attract a lot of customers with their new device, especially if it stays at this price. So yeah, this is regarding the pricing. And another thing in the phone is that it has 5 years of updates, not 7 or 6. So just 5 years old. It's good. I mean, they have upgraded their support in the Nothing Phone 3, but it's still 5 years, so it's still not what you will get with Samsung and with Pixels, and even Honor is giving you better support. So they just say years, so like usual, years. We don't know if they mean also versions or just years, and they have 7 years of security patches. The phone is 6.7 or 5.7 size. It's actually bigger than the S25, for example, because they are close in the price segment. Of course, the device is still not available. It's just the pre-order started today, so you can today start pre-ordering the device. Well, people care about the battery. Something interesting about the device is that it comes with Android 15 out of the box, not 16. They promised that there will be an update coming quickly, but until now, as far as I know, it's not there. But so people should put it into their mind that they are just having the Android 15. Okay, Android 16 was released like recently, but yeah, I mean, the phone is already after the Android 16 release, but they decided to go for Android 15 instead. Another thing about the device is that it doesn't support the memory cards, which is something that became the norm. You can get 256 or 500 gigs of storage only, no 1 terabyte, so you can't purchase it, Warren. But actually, you get.
Well, I wonder 1 TB. You know me. I'm not going to settle for.
Yeah, this is the only reason why you're not getting that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to get it.
So you get either the 256 for with 12 gigs of RAM, or the 512 for 16 with 16 gigs of RAM, which is good. I mean, many people would be okay with that. Not all people actually need more storage, and the RAM is already good that you are starting with 12 gigs instead of 8, like some other companies.
Karen, but how about the battery capacity, though? You started to mention that. Yeah, so let us know about that too, because when it's all said and done, how much battery am I getting? Yeah.
So actually, you are getting do they call it carbon silicon? Yes, which is the new technology of batteries. Actually, they are using only Samsung, I think, is the one, and Google. They are the only ones that are not using this battery. So you get 5,150 milliamp hours, which is, I mean, good. Not bad.
That is very small.
But
frankly, in my never to be humble opinion, if they're using that technology, we should be having a bigger battery than 5100 or 5200. I mean, come on, guys. You know what I mean? Isn't OnePlus the 13? John, isn't that OnePlus like closer to 6,000 milliamp battery? I don't remember.
I think it's 6200.
Yeah. Come on. So if they're using that same technology, and Carl Pei, who is also a product of OnePlus, who used to be with them, you should have given us a bigger battery than what we have. I mean, 51 or 5200, and that's puny, if you ask me. But not to deter you. You go ahead, Sarah.
Also, Honor actually provides big batteries. Even with some of the cheaper devices like the X9C, which is about $350 or $380. I think it has 6,200, I think, something. It's in the 6,000s. I don't remember the exact number. But the interesting thing about the Nothing phone is India. In India, you get 5,500 instead of 5,150 that you get internationally. So if you live in India, you will get a bigger battery. This is the difference between the international and the Indian version. Well, actually, to wrap things up, Nothing is known for the design. They were known also for the glyph, which was a part of the design. They are still using the transparent design in some parts of the phone, but actually I don't think the design itself is enough. And for a blind person, also the glyph wasn't actually something that a person could use, especially if we're talking about a totally blind person. And now I don't think also that we'll be able to use the screen anyway, so the back screen. So yeah, I think it's the selling point, the design itself. So it will be the factor that decides if people are getting the device or not. But overall, the device is not actually providing what Nothing was promising, and you get this true flagship. I don't personally consider it as the true flagship, to be honest. And one last thing that I actually forgot to talk about is the screen. It has just a Gorilla Glass 7i, not Victus. So actually, it's also less protected. So you are giving me, or you are asking me to pay, and in the same time you're not giving me what other companies are giving me with the same, like if I pay the same price. So yeah, I think they missed what they missed, what they were able to achieve, they were able to do better. I think that this was a missed opportunity, actually, at least in my personal opinion.
They had to cut corners somewhere there to meet that price point of $800, right? This is $799. Now, so frankly, for me, I never care about the glyph. I call it the Christmas tree. Besides, for me, though, I always put my phone in the case anyway. And besides, if I want to see the Christmas tree, you got to turn the phone upside down to see it. What's the point? So, I don't know. I just, the glyph, I never thought of it as something that I wanted anyway. But then there's another thing I want to mention, though, which is not relating to the phone, but yet in the same breath, kind of related, that I would like to have, from the Nothing. And that would be the over-the-ear headset that they have also launched. And I think what I like about it, as I was reading, is the fact that it has, tactile controls, as to some of the ones that I just touched. And I think I would like to have something like that. But, $299 or whatever, I'm not sure I'm ready for that quite yet. Maybe I wait till when it gets to sales and I could try it out. Up next is the App of the Week segment. This is a segment dedicated to app demonstrations. Should you have an app that you would like to demonstrate for our listeners, feel free to send us the recording of such an app demo to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And now for this week's episode, here's your App of the Week. And now, moving on, and to close today's episode is the App of the Week. And for this App of the Week, here's a demo of the OpenDocument Reader. Hi, Warren here from Blind Android Users Podcast. And as we continue with our series of the App of the Week series, for episode 239 App of the Week, I'll be demonstrating an app simply called OpenDocument Reader. For today's demonstration, I'm utilizing the Pixel 9 Pro XL running Android 16 QPR1 Beta 2.1. I'm running Android Accessibility 16.0. I do want to apologize as I'm recording this on July 4th, thus there's a celebration going on and lots of fireworks here in my little town. I also want to apologize that I am unable to pass my audio through my recording software, so what you're going to be hearing is coming directly from the phone speaker. I am on the home page, that is on the Play page of OpenDocument Reader on the Play Store, and will now navigate to the About, and let's hear the description of the app, and then afterwards I'll come back and tap on that install and get started. Here is that About.
About this app. Heading. Google Play Store. OpenDocument Reader Pro. Details. Read and edit ODF, ODT, ODS, ODP, DOCX, BOC, CSV, PDF documents and other files. View and modify documents created using LibreOffice or OpenOffice on the go using the Document Reader and Document Editor. Page facing up pedestrian. The File Reader and Document Editor allows you to open files like ODF, OpenDocument format documents created using LibreOffice or OpenOffice wherever you are. In the bus on your way to school wanting to look at your notes before the big exam. No problem. With the Document Reader you can open files wherever you like and read and search through your documents to go in a clean and simple way. Is there just one last typo left to fix in your document before sending it out to colleagues? The File Editor supports modification of documents now. Fast, simple and well integrated. You can open files from ODF, ODT, ODS and many more that you have created with LibreOffice or OpenOffice, also from within other apps. Supported apps include Gmail, Google Drive, iCloud, OneDrive, Nextcloud, Box.net, Dropbox and lots of others. Or use our integrated File Explorer instead to open files on your device. The all-in-one Document Reader and Document Editor page facing up. Right arrow open files with ODF, ODT, Writer, ODS, Calc, ODP, and ODG without a hassle. Right arrow basic editing of documents with the File Editor to fix typos, add sentences, etc. Right arrow securely open password protected documents. Right arrow search for keywords in your ODT, Writer, ODS, Calc, or ODG and highlight them. Right arrow print documents if your device is connected to a printer. Right arrow read your documents in full screen to avoid distractions. Right arrow select and copy text out of your documents. Right arrow enjoy your documents even without internet connectivity, fully offline capable. Right arrow read out aloud your documents using text-to-speech technology. Documents to go wherever you like, pedestrian. In addition to that, the document reader and document editor aims to support various other file formats as well as possible. Portable document format PDF, archives, zip, images, JPG, JPEG, GIF, PNG, WebP, TIFF, BMP, SVG, etc. Videos, MP4, WEBM, etc. Audio, MP3, OGG, etc. Text files, CSV, TXT, HTML, RTF. Microsoft Office OOXML, Word, Doc, DOCX, Excel, XLS, XLSX, PowerPoint, PPT, PPTX, Apple iWork, Pages, Numbers, Keynote, LibreOffice and OpenOffice ODF, ODT, ODS, ODP, ODG, PostScript, EPS, AutoCAD, DXF, Photoshop, PSD. This app is open source. We are not affiliated with OpenOffice, LibreOffice, or similar. Made in Austria. Ads are shown in order to support the development of this app. They are free to remove temporarily via the in-app menu. We highly appreciate all kinds of feedback via email. ODF is the format used by Office suites like OpenOffice and LibreOffice. Text documents, Writer ODT, as well as spreadsheets, Calc odds, and also presentations, Impress ODP, are supported, including support with the file editor for complex formatting and embedded images. Graphs are no problem either. If you want to secure your data, you can even open password-protected documents. Other applications that are using this format are NeoOffice, StarOffice Go, IBM Workplace, IBM Lotus Symphony, China Office, AndroPen Office, Co-Create Office, EuroOffice, Kai Office, Jambo OpenOffice, Magyar Office, Multimedia Office, MY Office, Next Office, Office One, Office TLE, U4 Kids, OpenOffice PL, OpenOffice T7, OX Office, Oxygen Office, Pladow Office, Plus Office, Red Office, Romanian Office, Sunshine Office, Viz Office, Up Office, White Label Office, WPS Office Store, Collabora Office, and 602 Office. App Info. Version 3.32 Pro. Updated on October 30th, 2024. Downloads 5,000 plus downloads. Download size 19.76 megabytes. Required OS Android 6.0 and up. Offered by Steffel und Taschauer AUG. Released on November 6th, 2020.
And that's both the description and the history of the app. I'll now navigate my way back to that installation page and tap on that install and get started.
Play Store. About this app. Heading. Install. Button. Verified by Play Protect. Auto open when ready. Pending. OpenDocument Reader Pro. 0%. 26%. 72%. 100%. Installing. Installing. Navigate up. Button.
I believe that we're done with the installation, and as you can hear, it indicated that I have the Pro version. I don't remember how much I paid for the Pro version, but you can decide to buy the Pro version. We're done with the installation, and now we'll tap on that Open.
Button. Open. Open Document Reader. Open Document. Button.
We're now in the main UI of the app, and the first thing we heard was Open Document button. Now, if you haven't purchased that, though, it's going to be the More options, and tapping on that, you'll come across the purchasing of the Pro version. But as soon as you purchase that, what you have there now is the Open Document. Let's now go through the UI and see what we have besides that button there on the top right corner. Moving on down, here are the items we encounter.
Welcome to Open Document Reader. Landing Intro Open button. Open Document Reader allows you to view documents that are stored in Open Document format, .od, .ods, .odp, and .oding wherever you are. With Open Document Reader, you can read and search through your documents in a breeze. Found one last typo left to fix ahead of your big presentation. It now supports modifications too.
And nestled below what you just heard is a toggle that is on or off, and by default is on. However, this is intended for those using Samsung devices, and if you have the My Files from Samsung, then you could either turn this off or on. And here's what that goes to say.
On. Switch.
And below that, here's the explanation of that switch.
This app registers to open all file types by default in order to support apps like Samsung My Files. You may turn this feature off here if it causes problems for you.
And that's the explanation of that. Now the last button at the bottom right.
Landing Open Fab button.
We have the Open Fab, which means if you tap here, though, it's going to take you to where you want to open the document from. It launches your file picker. For example, it will show all the file managers you have. The same thing happens if you tap that one there on the top right. I'll tap here to show you what I'm talking about.
Open document via Files in List.
So we got Open Document via, and the first item here is Files from Google. Moving on down.
File Manager Plus. CX File Explorer. Select RS File Manager.
You got the drift. In other words, it depends on what file managers you have, and you can use that to open or go navigate to the folder that you want to open the document from. For some reason, it seems it doesn't have a file picker of its own. The same thing is true if we tap on that Open Document button found near the top. I'm going to close out of this and tap the Open Document there on the top right so you'll hear what I'm talking about.
Open Document Reader. Landing Open Fab button out of list.
And now I'm going to touch that one on the top right corner, which simply says Open Document.
Open Document button.
And I'll tap.
Open Document via Files in List.
The same idea.
File Manager Plus.
There you go. So I'm going to tap on Files by Google.
Files. Recent. Show Routes button out of list. Menu. Open from.
I tapped on Show Routes, and I'm going to tap on the internal storage.
Pixel 9 Pro XL. Pixel 9 Pro XL. Show Routes.
And
button
now
out of
I'm
list.
going to tap
Showing
on
items 1 to 11
Documents.
11. Documents. Row 3.
Here's Documents.
Documents. Show Routes. Button out of grid. Showing items 1 to 3 of 3.
I do have a document file here from Microsoft Word, which is the show notes of the Blind Android Users podcast. I'm going to try to open that file.
Show notes for episode 236 docs. 18.67
And I'll
kilobytes.
tap.
Not happy with how the file is displayed. Upload it temporarily to improve formatting. OK. Button. Open Document Reader. Open Document. Button out of.
When you tap on a document, for example, it tells you if you're not happy, then try to upload it to their server. And that dialog is at the bottom there, and to the right of that is the OK button. And now I'm going to move my finger near the top so we hear.
Episode 236 ANDRO ID 16PUBLIC release and more. Welcome to episode 236.
As you can see, I'm just swiping from left to right.
This week has been busy for Google as Android 16 public release drops, including the Pixel feature drop and the Android 16 QPR 1 Beta 2.
Okay.
Announcements. We knew that at some point the 11 Labs reader link
As you can hear, it supports the links, and so it tells you if there's a link, and
would become a subscription-based access, but we didn't think it was coming this soon. The usage of this app requires subscription. Android Basics. Besides Google dropping.
now I want to check some things because there are certain things that it doesn't support. These are headings. However, we're not hearing heading. So I'm going to navigate to the heading and see if we hear heading. And then I'll also try to navigate to the link granularity.
Speech rate. Script. Links. Controls. Links.
Here's links. Let's try links.
Android 16 QPR 1 Beta 2. Link. 1 UIA Beta 2. Link. Android 16. Link.
As you can see, it supports links. Now I'm going to go to headings
Controls. Headings.
and swipe up or down.
No previous heading. No previous heading.
I'm going to swipe down.
No next heading. No next heading.
There you have it. So it doesn't support headings, but it supports links. And now that we have opened the document, we have some buttons near the top on the right side, and starting from the middle of the phone, that is toward the top and going right. The first button we come across is
Open Document. Button.
moving right,
Edit Document. Button.
right,
Search in Document. Button.
and
More options. Button.
more options. Let's go ahead and tap on more options.
Pop-up window. Full screen mode. In list.
First thing we heard is full screen mode, and moving on,
Open with.
open with,
Save.
save,
Share document.
Next.
Print document.
Next.
Text to speech.
And text to speech is the last one. I want to try that because I've never tried using the text to speech mode. Let's tap on that text to speech to see what it sounds like.
Text to speech. Open document reader. More options. Button out of list.
Upon tapping on that text to speech, we now have some buttons. On the top left corner, we've got
Done. Button.
and then moving on to the right, in the middle, we have this text string that says
Ready.
moving right,
Play. Button.
next,
Pause. Button.
and then if you move right again,
More options.
that's the
Button.
more options button. So I'm going to tap on that play and let's hear what it sounds like.
Play. Button. Episode 236 ANDROID 16PUBLIC release and more. Welcome to episode 236. This week has been busy for Google as Android 16 public release drops, including the Pixel feature drop and the Android 16 QPR1 Beta 2. Announcements. We knew that at some point, the 11 Labs reader would become a subscription-based access, but we didn't.
I'm
think
going
it
to
was
shut off
doing
the
this.
screen and see if it reads
The
with the
usage
screen
of this
off.
app requires subscription. Screen off.
As you can hear, screen off and it stopped reading. My guess, however, is that if I were using some other screen reader other than the Google TTS to read this document, it will continue to read. But because it is utilizing the Google speech services, once I shut off the screen, that also goes off. I'm going to quickly change my TTS engine to something like Acapella or Vocalizer, and let's see if my theory is true. So now let's go ahead and change our TTS engine.
Talkback menu. Describe. Text to speech settings. Text to speech output. Preferred text to speech output. Preferred engine. Preferred engine. Navigate up. Not selected. Radio button. Sear voices. Not selected. Radio button. Acapella TTS. 5 of 12.
Here's Acapella.
Attention. This speech synthesis engine may be able to. Okay, but. Using Acapella TTS. Preferred engine.
All right, now let's go back though and try playing that document again.
Text to speech output. Open document reader.
And now I'm going to tap on that more options and tap on TTS.
More options. Pop-up window. Full screen mode. In list.
And now I'm going to tap on text to speech or TTS.
Selected. Text to speech. Text to speech. Open document reader. More options.
And now
list.
I'm going to tap on that play button. That's the third button from the more options going left.
Play. Button. Episode 236 ANDROID.
And now I'm going to shut off the screen.
Release and more. Welcome to episode 236. This week has been screen off.
That's unfortunate. So what happens though is that actually it chooses to use the same TTS engine that one uses. I thought it was just going to be utilizing the online TTS from Google, but as it stands now, it seems it uses the local TTS engine, whichever one it is that you're running as your main daily driver TTS. And that would conclude this short demonstration of the Open Document Reader. Thanks for listening. And that's it about the Open Document Reader. And one thing I noticed is that it's similar in some ways with the other one that I demonstrated. In other words, if you open the document using the cloud there, both of these, that is the Open Document Reader and what was the other one? Office Viewer Reader. Yeah, Office Viewer Reader. Both of these simply, if you have links in there while you are reading the article, it doesn't show them, but it shows them separate. So, and you have to swipe to get to the links. That the links are not like embedded alongside with the words if they're embedded in there, so they can separate. So they're similar in that way. But the one thing that I like about the Open Document Reader is that at least it reads your words, Word documents and all of that document without necessarily having to go to the cloud like the other one does. So it's a good app to use, Word documents, which is sometimes a challenge to a lot of other Office readers for those of us who are blind. So I'm glad we have that alongside there with Quickify, which also does very well when it comes to these Word documents.
One thing I want to mention is regarding editing documents. So unfortunately, this is not accessible in the app. So you can actually edit documents, but if you're a blind person, at least during my testing, that wasn't accessible at all. So you go to you select edit document, and then you try, for example, actually you will be able just to swipe like you swipe while reading the documents or viewing the documents. And when you, for example, I tried to move the granularity while I was focusing a line, and then to start typing, this didn't work. And I also tried double tapping the actual item and then trying to move the granularity and type. Also, that didn't work as well. So it seems that it's not at all accessible to edit documents. Maybe actually the keyboard will be shown and you will be able to type, but I don't know where the characters are typed. Maybe at the end or in the beginning of the document. So actually, when you're just trying to edit and you're unable to move the cursor and you are unable to determine where you want to put the text, it's not actually something that you would want to do or you would want to consider. So actually. Unfortunately, also another app that you can't use to edit Word documents, or I think this will be also the case with other types of documents. So yeah, this is unfortunate.
All good things must end. Thus, it's curtain drawing time, bringing us to the close of this week's episode. Coming up, though, we give you information on how to get hold of us. Well, folks, with that, we come to the end of today's episode. And as always, we love hearing from you guys. And we give you information on how to get hold of us. John has the means of how you can get hold of us. And now here's John telling you how to get hold of us. John?
To contact us, simply send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. If you'd prefer, you can leave a voicemail by calling +1 307 202 9797. You can join our mailing list by sending a blank email to Blind Android Users plus subscribe @groups.io. You can join our Facebook and Telegram groups or subscribe to our YouTube channel using the links in the podcast show notes or YouTube video description. And you can find all of this information and more at our website, blindandroidusers.com.
Thank you so much for that information, John. And folks, we want to say thank you again for listening to us. I do want to say we look forward to seeing you next week, God willing. From me, though, it's goodbye and have that great weekend.
Have a good week. See you next week.
Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening, guys. Talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. Until we see you next week, don't forget to leave us your comments and suggestions via our email contact or using any of our social media sites. Have a great week.